This podcast is brought to you in part by PNP Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or at one of their 3 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba. All right, everybody, and welcome to the Touch of Gaming podcast. This is episode number 171, and I'm not reading the chat room, Jared, so don't even try. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me, Jared Schultz. Jared, how the heck are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. I'm a little tired.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have kids, man. You get tired.
Yeah, and then you never recover.
My kids are 8 and 6, and I'm still tired a lot of the times. So yeah, it goes away eventually, but it's a lot better than it used to be. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, it's been a little crazy recently, but hey, we're getting through it.
Awesome.
We're learning and having fun, and
you'll be a
all that good
stronger
stuff.
person because of it.
Right, or at least a more sleep deprived one.
Yeah, that's one. They mean kind of the same thing, I think.
Okay.
Or maybe not. All right, well, let's get into the show. This is, of course, the Touch of Gaming podcast, your iOS, so iPhone, iPad gaming news show. We talk about some of the latest stuff that's happened in the last week and talk about the games we've been playing and do some reviews for you. We would love to hear from you guys. Head on over to vgpodcast.com and let us know what you think of the show. You can email us at vgpodcast@gmail.com or call our voicemail line at area code 505-VG-PODCAST. If you go to vgpodcast.com directly, you can actually click leave us a voicemail right on the side of the screen to leave us a voicemail, or click the contact us page to contact us directly through email. Either of those work. I'm at DazMe on Twitter. Jared is at The Quacko on Twitter, and we'd love to hear from our listeners that way as well. All right, man, let's jump into the show with the way we always jump into the show. Jared, what have you been playing?
I've been playing games with one hand.
Well, that is not the type of material we talk about on this podcast, Jared. So,
Whoa. So, I've been playing Sword and Poker Adventure.
Good.
So, we talked a little bit about Sword and Poker last time that the new one came out. I said that it was not horrible. I'm not sure. I think I may have been overly positive, or maybe today I'm just negative. I don't know what it is. But it's not quite as good as maybe I thought it was at first. The energy system does get in your way quite a bit. The early battles, it only takes 1 energy to fight the battle, but then later it starts costing 2. And when it starts costing 2, it means you can only do like 5 battles before it completely stops you. You can pay $5 and get rid of the energy system, which is cool because the game is free. So it's kind of like, hey, you can have this gimped version of the game, or you can have the full game version of the game if you pay us $5. That's not horrible. I'm not completely against it. The issue is that there's still some other things that are broken. So one of the cool things about Sword and Poker is there's always been this spells mechanic where you slowly develop or get some spells that then you can use. Like maybe you'll get Rob, which means you can use one. To form your poker hand, you can use 1 card out of your opponent's hand, which is cool. Or maybe one that turns something in the board into a wild, or something like that, which is a cool mechanic. But in this one, all of those spells are one-time use. And so you don't get them super often, and so you have to build them up kind of slowly. And a lot of them you get from logging in daily. So to me, that's really the one thing they took away. And then they kind of completely changed the art style. So instead of like fun and whimsical, like now it looks like they're like going for realistic looking wolves and stuff. And it's just like, no, I don't really like. I don't think I can beat a real wolf with a hand of poker. It just doesn't make sense, you know. Whereas where it was all fun and whimsical and cartoony,
right?
You know, it's fine. But it's like that disconnect, like the theme of the game and kind of the whimsy of the game does not match then the art style. Does that make any sense? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so.
Yeah, so it's a little different. It's not horrible. It's a good game when you're rocking a baby. at 3 a.m. in the morning. Not like I would know anything about that. And it's cool to like pick up and do a couple of times. But unless you're gonna play it in that style of, pick up and play it, it might not be the greatest. So it's still okay. It's still good. It's still interesting. But I guess I have to take a step back, and instead of saying for sure you should go check this out, I'm going to say proceed with caution. So I'll probably keep playing it. We'll see how far I get. There is a ton of content in there. There's like 50 some odd missions, and each mission has like anywhere between like 3 battles and like 8 or 10 battles.
Sure.
So there's just a ton of content, which is really cool. And then you can go back and replay the chapters, and in the chapters you can try and get 3 stars. And the 3 stars will always have interesting little things that you have to do in order to do it. Like, for example, maybe you can beat them. You can only play pairs, 3 of a kinds and 4 of a kinds.
Sure.
In order to beat the bad guy, and that'll award you a star. So it's kind of fun. It gives it some replayability. To be honest, though, some of those, if you go back, like for example, after you've played through, say, the first 10 chapters, and you go back to the first one, it's like super easy because by then you've gotten a better sword. And then they also have the whole premium currency thing going on. So like right now, I can buy a shield that has up to like 3 defense, but if I were to go spend money, I could buy one that has like 4 or 5 defense.
Yeah.
So you can only get that premium currency so far that I've found by paying. So like I said, I think it's now more of a proceed with caution. If someone hasn't already played number 2, I might go get 2 because it just was a little bit more open and matched a little. The only issue is now that it hasn't been updated in so long. Like, it doesn't have widescreen support. It doesn't have all the nice updated fun toys. So I probably talked about that too long. So next game I've been playing is a game called Zombie Commando. It's kind of funny because they shorten it to Zomando, half zombie and half commando. It's actually by Bulky Picks, who is a pretty quality little publisher.
Mm-hmm. They put out really good stuff, actually.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like they're one of those ones that just kind of found their niche on the App Store, and they do great in that niche. So and there you just heard it pop up. So it's interesting because it has some dual stick shooter type elements where each level is mission based. On each mission you can get up to 3 stars, and it's just a lot of fun. So
it doesn't look like there's in-app purchases in this game, it's a $4 app without in-app purchases. Is that actually really something that Bulky Picks is putting out?
Yeah, so when it originally came out, it was $1.99.
Okay.
And like I said, so there's a whole bunch of little like missions, and the missions you can get 3 stars. And when you start the level, you have to pick your team, so you can go and spend your money on getting different team members, and then you go. Maybe you'll take the guy with the baseball bat and the guy with the flamethrower and a machine gun guy, because those are all good guys.
Right.
And then you'll go into it and you'll fight, and you'll try and accomplish the mission. It feels like when you move, there's like a virtual thumbstick, and it moves your entire team, which is kind of cool. So like you'll maybe have an escort mission, and you'll have to go run over to where the guys are, and then you'll have to move your guys in order to get them to escort successfully the guys back to the town to safety. And then once you get the money, you can then go to your team and you can upgrade your team, or you can go to the tavern, and in the tavern you can hire new guys. Like there's all sorts of crazy ones. Like here's a sniper guy, and there's like a clown with like a bazooka, because clowns with bazookas aren't scary.
Well, the only thing more scary than a clown is a clown with a bazooka.
Seriously, that's gonna haunt my dreams now. But and the guys, they go up in cost and all that, so it's very interesting. And and it looks like they just published an update that made some crazy Japanese menu open up, which probably means that there'll be another update in a day or two to fix that. Because there's seriously an update today on it, and when I pull it up, there's a new menu that's in kanji.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's actually pretty quality. It's one that I might watch for a sale on. I'm not sure it's like a super expensive game, but I am enjoying it, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of annoying to me that your little dudes can't figure out how to shoot a gun while moving, because usually you have to like stop and let them shoot.
They're all from Resident. They're all from Resident Evil, so.
Yeah, so it's okay. It's it's kind of a nice little like fun filler game that you can play a quick round of every once in a while.
Cool.
Like on the toilet or something like that, or in the checkout line.
Or
hey, whatever works for you.
Whatever floats your boat.
Yep. And then the last one I'm going to talk about today is a game called Star Admiral. And Star Admiral, as you play it, this game is basically Magic the Gathering in space. So, Magic
ears
the
have
Gathering
perked up
is a
a little
card
bit?
game. What's that?
So my ears have perked up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure you'd like it.
Oh, okay.
So basically, you're slowly building your little fleet, and you're fighting against different. You play through the tutorial, and slowly you get you'll get a guy that it plays exactly like Magic the Gathering, or well, not exactly like Magic the Gathering, but you have to sacrifice cards in order to raise your overall summoning power, and then maybe you'll spend 4 for some sort of fighter, and they always have summoning sickness, except they don't call it that. And then some of them, eventually you get access to a few cards that have the ability to get past that and attack on your first turn. And it's not like exactly the same, but there's a lot of similarities to it. It's interesting though. I think it's probably worth a check out if you do like Magic the Gathering, or if you just always wanted it to be in space. It does require an internet connection, and there's not much of a single player game. So as you're playing through, very quickly you have to then start playing with other people after you get through the tutorial. And so far, I haven't had any issues where other people just kill me because, I don't know if they're doing a good job. I think they match your rank with other people of your rank.
Okay.
So they must do a pretty good job with that, because, like I said, I've never met someone who is just ridiculously overpowered compared to me.
Sure.
And you play kind of that quick battles, and you slowly will achieve bounties, and as you get bounties and missions done, you then unlock new cards. You can pay for things, but they actually do kind of an interesting thing where you absolutely can't pay for anything until you've actually played it for probably an hour.
Yeah, I remember reading about that little limitation. Well, I guess it's not so much of a limitation. It's we want to make sure you really like the game so you don't complain about us down the road.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting concept. I'm not sure I've actually seen that. But, basically you have to play for a little while. You have to play several matches in the online arena before they'll actually allow you to pay anything and open up the shop to you. So it's cool. I mean, it's an interesting mechanic, an interesting thing that, they're trying hard not to be an evil game designer or anything. So I think it's worth a check out. I am still playing it, and hopefully I will have a better review here coming up shortly.
Perfect.
Okay, what have you been playing, Lloyd?
I've been playing a little bit of stuff, actually. First, I wanted to chat a little bit more about Overcast. I talked a lot about it on the last episode, and I'm still using it. I'm still really digging it. Apparently, there's been an update submitted, which should hopefully hit soon, which fixed some of the issues that I've been having. So looking forward to that. But I've been using it, and I love the hell out of this app. I really, really dig it. I know you picked it up after we talked. So, Jared, what are your thoughts on Overcast, the podcast app that we talked about in episode 170?
Yeah, so you had mentioned stuff about battery drain, and I had actually mentioned similar, or had realized I had similar issues on my iPod from Instacast. And I was like, well, it's worth a try. So I went and installed it, and I imported it, which was very easy.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's to do the podcast import. It says it asks which app you're using. You click on it, then it says, okay, just do this in the app. So you go to the app. You for I was using Downcast, so all I have to do is go to the settings, and then there's an OPML export, and you can actually open that file in. So if you click that, and then Overcast appears as an icon, you click it, and then all of your subscriptions get imported. And I think Instacast is pretty much the exact same.
Yeah, it's similar, and just it worked really well. I went and deleted Instacast, and it's like I have a whole new battery.
Yeah.
My battery, where it was sometimes giving me, after just an hour of playing something, it was giving me my 20% left warning and all that.
Yep.
It's all of a sudden fixed, and I ended up taking my iPod to the Apple store this week for actually battery issues because it wasn't charging. And actually, they fixed it really easy, and it was kind of embarrassing when they pull out all this pocket lint, you know. and then they're able to they do something to get the moisture out, and all of a sudden it charges fine.
That's funny.
But yeah, so it's completely given my battery so much more juice and life. So at least for me, this was one that worked very well. I went into the settings, make sure I put it on there. It seems like there's some things you can do to try and make it so it uses even less battery. I'm not sure, but yeah, overall, really impressed with it.
Mm-hmm.
I have not taken and watched haven't really added any podcasts from my Twitter, because it does allow you to do that, and it doesn't tell you who actually who subscribes to it that you follow. I haven't used it. I looked at it, but that wasn't huge. So yeah, I ended up paying for it, and I'm really enjoying it, helping my battery a whole bunch. So I'm a huge fan.
Well, that's cool. That's really good. I'm the same way. I'm actually finding that my battery is still draining, and it's not because the app isn't being battery conscious. It's that I'm actually listening to podcasts all day. And as I said when I did the review, when I was using Instacast, I could literally watch the battery drain. It was like every minute a percentage of the battery was going down. It was ridiculous. And with Overcast, my battery still drains, but it doesn't drain as fast. It drains how you normally would expect it to. But yeah, anyway, huge fan of the app. But we did get a listener email, and it's from a Felix Michael, I think is how you pronounce the last name. And the message goes, "Hi Lloyd, I love your show. Just wanted to comment on the podcast app you recommended. I've been using the Apple Podcast app since I got my iPhone and tried the Overcast app and thought it was awesome, but I started to have problems with my battery running dry. I thought it was because my 4S was getting old, but I've only had it for a year and a half. As it turns out, the Overcast app was killing my phone, so when I returned to the podcast app, all went back to normal. Keep at it, man. I enjoy your work." Well, first, Felix, thanks for your kind words about the podcast we do here at the VG Podcast Network. And yeah, I mean, if you're using the normal podcast app, basically all the podcast app is a skin for the normal music player that's in your iPhone. So it's not doing anything fancy. If you're running any of the other podcatchers, at least in my experience, Downcast was great, and I find that Overcast is still using, if not a little bit less, around the same battery, but Instacast is just killing it. So yeah, you'd probably see a little bit more battery usage compared to the normal podcast app, just because of all the extra stuff. Like if you have the auto speed where it takes out the silences, and if you have double or triple speed turned on, you're definitely gonna use a little bit more battery than the normal podcast app, which is essentially just a normal iTunes media player that your phone would come with. So sorry you hopefully you didn't pay for it and found that it didn't work for you. Hopefully you tried it out before plopping down the $5. But yeah, maybe come back to it in a little bit. See after a couple updates come, maybe some more I don't know, he'll be able to find some more battery saving stuff that he can put into it to make it work a little bit better on your phone.
Yeah, so I use enough of the extra features that I'm not really interested in using just the Apple Podcast app. So for me, it's been a real lifesaver.
Yeah, like for me, I'm a guy that wants to download podcasts immediately. If something appears, I want it to download before I even open the app. This one has background downloading, just like Downcast did, and just like Instacast did. And I listen to all my podcasts at double speed. And what I found with this one is I put it down to 1.5 speed, but I turned the silence eraser off. So it's actually faster than double speed. But it sounds better, and it just, yeah, I'm loving the hell out of Overcast. I'm really looking forward to some of the updates that are coming down the road, and even more so when iOS 8 hits and you're able to do things like stream in the app. That's the one thing it doesn't do right now, which is kind of annoying. You have to download the file before you can play it. When iOS 8 hits, it'll do streaming, so that'll be good as well.
Yeah, that was something that Instacast had that Overcast doesn't. Because Instacast you could stream, but overall, I much more prefer Overcast, especially because, like you were saying, it seems to update better. And often I go in there and I'm like, oh, hey, look, I have new podcasts that just automatically downloaded. Whereas Instacast, at least with my settings, because I think you can have it search automatically, but I was trying to get my battery usage down, so I was making it so I had to queue it to go. Yeah. So it's nice.
Yeah.
So.
I'm pretty much sure that Instacast killed my battery in my iPhone. I had to go get a battery replacement, and they found out that there was a short in my battery. And what would happen, like I'm not positive, obviously, that Instacast did it, but when I would be listening to podcasts on my way home, so I'd be in the car, I would be, say this is the middle of winter, so it's like minus 30 in Winnipeg, so it's freezing. It's warm in the car because the heat's on, but it's not warm in the car. I'd have my phone outside on my chair, and I would touch my phone after the 30-minute drive, and my phone would be almost molten to the touch. Like, it almost hurt to touch the back of my phone that is metal. And I did that for a couple months, and then I noticed that my battery would die when it got to about 20%. So sometimes even before I got the 20% warning, my phone would just turn off. I brought it in, and they found that there was a physical problem with my battery, and I'm thinking it's probably due to the heat that was happening. I've had nothing like that with Overcast, no overheating, no nothing. So I'm super happy. I'm really glad that I did check it out.
Cool.
All right. What else I've been playing? I've been playing Family Guy, which is one of my daily games that I play a couple times a day. The reason why I want to talk about it now is they released a content update for Comic-Con. So in the game, you can unlock real people. You can unlock Patrick Stewart. You can unlock Felicia Day. You can unlock what's the name of the guy that played Hellboy? What's his name?
I don't know. I
can't remember his name. He also, whatever, it doesn't matter. But there's like 4 real people that you can unlock in the game, and that was cool enough for me to have Patrick Stewart running around in my version of Quahog that I've been making. So it was a lot of fun. Still playing that, enjoying it a lot. I've been playing a couple newer games. Blood Bowl just hit today, and I immediately went out and downloaded it. It's $5. I was always someone that was fascinated with the tabletop version of Blood Bowl. Basically, what Blood Bowl is it's a version of football that's set in the Warhammer universe. So you are like a goblin team or an orc team or a blood elf team, and you basically are trying to score points in football by taking the ball into the end zone, but you're also beating the snot out of the other team, and it's perfectly legal. So it was always a fun game. Some of my friends played, and I never did, but I always wanted to. But it launched on Xbox like a couple years ago. I think it hit the 360 maybe 3 years ago, and I always wanted to pick it up, and I just never did. I know it launched on PC as well. Well, apparently this game is essentially the same game, but on your iPad. And from what I read on the app description, you can even do multiplayer with some of the other versions of this game, maybe the PC, so you could actually play against other people. I'm looking into it right now. I'm just trying to open up the store. Multiplayer, you compete against a friend. Doesn't say. Maybe I read that online. I think I read it on Touch Arcade. Something about cross-platform. Maybe it's cross-platform between maybe iOS and Android. I'm not positive on that, so don't take what I said as any sort of truth. But I immediately downloaded it. something that I wanted for a long time. Picked it up, played my first match, and I don't really know what I'm doing. I jumped in, played, and proceeded to die and lose the ball, and I just didn't really know what I was doing. So I stopped playing, and I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to look for a better tutorial. Like, there has to be a tutorial in this game, because you're like clicking on guys and moving, and it's like, can I move all my guys? Can I not move any guys? I don't really know what I can do. And then eventually when you're playing, you get knocked down, and then the other team gets the ball immediately, or gets to take turns immediately. So I'm not 100% clear on all the rules, but if you've been waiting for a version of Blood Bowl on your iOS, this one might be the one that you want to check out. They've done something interesting, maybe you might want to say, but maybe not. Basically, for $5, you get one of the 5 races in the game. So you get the orcs, I believe. Yeah, humans, orcs. Oh, so you get 2. You get humans and orcs. And then if you want to play any of the other races, which are Chaos, Dwarf, Skaven, or Wood Elves, they're $3 a pop. So you're basically buying the rest of the game for, essentially, it's going to be $17 to play everything in the game, or $5 to start. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Maybe they won't sell very many and they'll drop the price, or maybe they'll add more. Who knows? But it's interesting. I'm gonna give it another chance. I'm gonna try to jump through whatever tutorial there would be in this game, because I do want to like it. It was just very confusing for me right off the bat.
Yeah, there's a pretty good tutorial when I played the PC version, but it is very complex. Like, you have to know all sorts of different things about passing and, different roles and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's like some of your characters can pick up the ball from the ground, some can't, some can only tackle, other ones can run, and it's like, okay, well, you didn't really explain that to me, so I'm gonna jump into it again and see a little bit more about that. So that's Blood Bowl. Hopefully I'll have more to say about that in a future episode, because that means that I've picked it up again and didn't just get frustrated and deleted it from my iPad. Lost $5. I've been playing a little bit of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This one dropped to free, I believe today, so I picked it up, and I thought it was an auto runner when I first saw the screens, because it looks like an auto runner. It is not. It's a beat 'em up game that you control with touch. So you basically touch where you want to go, and your version of Cap will beat people up. You can click on other guys if you want them to beat them up. You unlock other character classes because you have someone that comes with you, so you can unlock snipers and other things that will come with you. This is a much better game than I thought it was, and I'm really glad I downloaded it because it was free. Otherwise I would have skipped it. So if you're looking for maybe a fun game, it's free right now. I'm not sure for how long it's going to be free. I think it's Apple's Game of the Week maybe, so probably a week or so. So if you're looking for something to play, I would download that one as quick as you can and keep it on your iOS device to play later. But yeah, it's an interesting title. I thought it was an auto runner when I saw the screenshots. Didn't look into it because it immediately turned me off. And sure enough, it isn't. It is a kind of a top-down beat-em-up game that has very simple touch controls. The only thing that's concerning is there's 3 stars per level. So I wonder how much in-app purchases are going to factor into this down the road, where you're going to have to buy equipment to get the best score you can in a level to unlock other stuff. I haven't run into any of that yet, obviously, after only playing a few levels, but I'm cautious in moving forward with this game. And cool. Last but not least, I picked up a game called Traps and Gemstones.
Oh, I picked that one up too. I haven't played it yet.
It's a Donut Games game. So Donut Games made all these amazing titles back when the iOS App Store was new. There was like this rodent skateboard game, and there was the collect all the cheese game, and there was like all these like weird little games, and they all had the same graphics. It was like he had the same graphic tile, or I say he, I don't know who the developer is, so I'll just say he as the collective. Or they. So it seems like they had just one graphic set, and they used that graphic set to make all of their games way back in the day. And I kind of forgot about Donut Games. I wasn't really like, whenever they would come over to the game, it was usually 99 cents, and I would buy it sight unseen just because it was always fun and there was always high scores and things to attain. but then I heard about this one, and I actually heard about it reading on Touch Arcade, because I was just scanning through news articles, and I saw something that said Metroidvania, and that immediately perked up my ears, and I immediately wanted to play it. If you're not familiar with that name, what it is it's a class of games where you're basically exploring a dungeon, and pickups that you get in the dungeon allow you to explore more. So it started in, say, Castlevania Symphony of the Night for the PlayStation 1, where you were basically playing a Castlevania game, side-scrolling, beat-em-up type thing, but you would get an item that would give you double jump, then you get an item that would give you the ability to go through specific doors or turn into mist or turn into a wolf. And that really kind of started a genre. And it's really popular. I'm playing a game right now called Rogue Legacy on my PS4 and my Vita, which is essentially a mixture of a roguelike and a Metroidvania game mashed together. And it's freaking awesome.
Good.
It is so good. If you have a PS4 or a Vita or a PlayStation 3, pick it up. If you have a PC, you could have been playing it for a year already. It is an amazing title. But I read that Traps and Gemstones was a Metroidvania. It's $4, and it's 40% off for all of July, they say. So I guess starting tomorrow it'll go up a couple dollars or whatever.
I think it was $3, and it's going to go up to $5.
That's right. It was $2.99, and it's going to go up to $5. And that's essentially what it is. It's a side-scrolling Metroidvania type game where you're basically running inside of a dugout mine shaft below a pyramid, and you're collecting items, collecting gems, finding equipment to get further in the game. It is really damn good. I'm actually really amazed how good it is. I haven't beat it yet. I'm loving it from what I played of it, and I think it got like 5 stars on Touch Arcade. There's a couple other websites that I've seen that have given it perfect marks, either 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5. So I think the developer has a really good game here on their hands. So the best part about it is it's $3 and there's no in-app purchases. You can play the whole game for your $3. They're not going to ask you to buy continues or coin doublers or any other garbage that a lot of other games have been doing recently. So it's kind of a nice fresh breath of air for this game. So I'm really stoked to dig further into it, and basically I'll have a Metroidvania game on my iPad that I can play when I'm not playing Rogue Legacy, I guess, is what I want to say. So if you're looking for games like that, do check out Traps and Gemstones. It's a pretty interesting little game.
Yeah, everyone's been really high on it, so that's actually why I ended up picking it up. That and the fact that they said that it was going to go up $2.
Yeah.
So
pick it up now and play it later.
I was
type
like,
thing.
Yeah. So I just went and pulled it up on Quality Index, where they go and kind of compile, and Pocket Gamer gave it a 9, 148 gave it 4 out of 5.
Yep.
But then Game Zebo gave it a 10, and Game Saku, whatever that is, gave it 10.
You don't know Game Saku? Come on.
I do not follow Game Saku on all my Twitter feeds. So anyway, no, it's great. Excited. Looks like a fun one to have.
Yeah, cool. All right, cool. Let's jump into the rest of the show. Let's get into news. We have a couple quick news items before we get into a review that Jared wants to give us. The first news item, Cannabalt. Do you remember Cannabalt, Jared? The game that came out in like 3 years ago or 4 years ago?
Gosh, that makes me feel old. Because I think that, I was just starting the podcast then.
Yeah, I remember Adam Saltzman came to Winnipeg and gave a talk, and he was talking about building Cannabalt and how it all came together. And it was this really cool talk about how the edges of buildings, you can actually stand completely off the edge of the building on the left side, because he wanted to make it easier to land. So there's a whole block that you can't see beside a building, and we did the animation this way, and we're actually when you touch the screen, we got the latency down this way, and it was just this really cool talk. But the game itself was super simple. You're basically running and you're tapping the screen to jump, and that was it. That was it. It came out in 2012, so maybe not 3 years ago. So I guess it's only 2 years ago, but it was or Or wait, no, it came out a long time ago. There was updates that were hinted in 2012. There was even a version of Cannabalt that was on the Winatron, which was a something else built here in Winnipeg, actually, which was it was an indie arcade cabinet. So it was an arcade cabinet that indies could push their games to, and there was Winatron projects that popped up all over the world. But yeah, this was one of the games that was created for it. Was like kind of a multiplayer version of it. So anyway, fast forward 3-4 years, whatever it is, Cannabalt version 2 hit, which adds new modes and a local multiplayer game. So there's a whole bunch of different modes in the game. Things like Box Tripper and Fractured, which basically changed up the gameplay a little bit. But there is a full multiplayer mode, and essentially you play it with the same game. One person's touching the left side of the screen, one person's touching the right side of the screen, essentially. The other thing is there's different like levels that you can go to now. There's like all this really crazy stuff, and it's a free update, so go check it out. I mean, Cannabalt's been out forever. It was $2.99. I think it still is $2.99 on the App Store. And it was basically a simple game back then for $2.99. Now it's a heck of a lot more of a game for $2.99. So do check it out. I guess it was launched, or it was updated recently for widescreen support. So you could play it on like the iPhone 5 and the newer the newer Retina, like iPad Mini and stuff like that. It looked better on those devices. Now it has a bunch of other functionality. So if you've bought it before, check it out. Download the update and see if there's anything that you like. If not, it's still a really fun game. But I think the autorunners kind of went crazy on the App Store. So there's probably a million autorunners that might be better, more interesting to you, we'll say, than this one. But it is a classic, and it was one of those like, I don't want to say pillars for the App Store, but it was one of those gems that a lot of people flocked to. There was like Angry Birds, there was Cannabalt, there's a bunch of other ones that came around the same time where everybody pointed to them as, this is stuff you can only do on the iOS. You should buy an iOS device and play some games on it. So Jared, are you going to download the update? Are you a Cannabalt fan at all?
I'm not sure I ever downloaded Cannabalt when it first came out.
Yeah, I loved autorunners. It just seemed like such a great idea. So I played a hell of a lot of Cannabalt way back in the day, but I don't know if I'll be playing too much of this update other than maybe checking it out.
Yeah, I might check it out quick. I don't know. I have to go check it out. And yeah, go relive old times of 4 years ago.
Yeah, you can go play Monkey Ball too and see if you have any fun with that. Super Monkey Ball.
Oh, man.
That game
Remember
was
when
horrible.
that came out? It was like the first game was like $10 or something.
I tried to convince myself that the game was good, and it was not good. There was nothing about it that was good. And it was $10. It was a bad $10 game. It was terrible.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's get into next up. Tiny Tower has come out with a new version of Tiny Tower in Canada. So you can go right now to the Canadian App Store and you can download Tiny Tower Vegas. It is soft launching in Canada. It'll probably hit the rest of the world in the next couple weeks. And essentially it's you're building Vegas towers. So if you're not sick of Tiny Tower, if you're not sick of the Star Wars version of Tiny Tower, I stopped playing it when the Star Wars version deleted my save game. Because I backed up my phone and then restored it, and the save game wasn't backed up. So I lost all my progress, and I had almost a full tower, so I never played it again. I don't think I'll be playing this, but I wanted to let everybody know that it's out there, because I know a lot of people love Tiny Tower. And this one allows you to bet and like play like, I don't know, what are those machines called that you put the money in and you pull the handle? I can't think of it right now. Slot machines. There you go. That's how much of a gambler I am. I don't even know the name. But yeah, you can play like slot machines and other stuff in it. So they're adding stuff to Tiny Tower, but I'm kind of over that whole game genre. So it's not for me, but might be for you. So I wanted to mention it here on the show.
Interesting. So here's my only question. Why in the world is Tiny Tower Vegas only available in Canada?
Yeah, I think they've launched all their games in Canada first.
I know. It's just funny because it's Vegas.
It is. So what are you saying? We don't deserve a Vegas?
because you don't have Vegas in Canada.
This could be the Canadian version of Vegas in a bizarre world where Vegas started up here in like Toronto or something, or Quebec.
Do you guys have like a Vegas, the place where you go to gamble in Canada?
No, we have casinos in lots of places, so there's no one city, I don't think, that I can think of.
Yeah, we have like West Coast is like Vegas, and the East Coast is all about Atlantic City, and I don't really like either of them. So yeah, it's because I don't gamble. So.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm not a gambler, so it doesn't really interest me at all. So anyway, moving on, let's get into our last story. This one came out a while ago, about a month ago. I remember seeing a story and I forgot to put it in the show notes up until now. And just something really cool. I'm a parent of kids that love Lego, and Lego's come out with a new product called Lego Fusion. So essentially what it is it's a specific board and you build stuff on it, and then you use your iPad to scan what you built, and then you can play with that device or with that thing that you built in the device. So you can actually play with it, mini games and stuff like that. There's one called Battle Towers. There's another one called Resort Designer that's like the Lego Friends, which is like the girl-focused version of Lego that is in stores right now that my daughter loves, which is kind of weird. It's totally... Yeah, she's totally fitting into the marketing on that one. Then there's Lego Racer, where you can build different vehicles and race them on tracks. There's Town Master, where you can essentially build little houses and then blow them up and do stuff like that. So it's a really cool thing that is only really available because of Lego, and also because of the tablets and phones that we have in our lives right now. So these sets will be coming later this summer. I think they're in stores just about now. I remember seeing some ads for it. So I wanted to mention it. If you're like me and you have kids that love Lego, you probably have like bins and bins and bins of Lego. This would be something neat for them to do, where they can actually build something out of Lego and then use it in a video game. It would be probably a lot of fun to them. So I'm excited. Hopefully you are too. I don't know, Jared. I guess your kids are too early for Lego. They're probably doing the Duplo, if anything like that. But does stuff like this interest you at all?
It looks very interesting to me. I'll be interested to see how the technology goes, because it looks like right now it's only compatible with the pieces that come in the set.
Yeah. Because they want you to buy the sets.
Yeah, I could see that, and also just the programming of being able to recognize every single type of Lego piece might be a little difficult.
For sure.
But yeah, you're right. I am currently have my fair share of Duplos, though I'm looking to acquire more. Yeah. And that's all I got. Yeah. Interested in it. I'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. So the description for, say, Lego Fusion Battle Towers is players build a tower and defend it against attack so that they can rule the kingdom. First, players design the battle towers with real Lego pieces. Then they capture it and import them into the game. Next, players will choose tower defenders like wizards and archers and battle against evil warriors, skeleton armies, and more. If a tower is damaged in battle, players can repair the damage with a time build mode with the game's real Lego bricks. So your tower gets damaged, and then you have to like fix it in the real world by putting new blocks on and stuff like that. Really cool. I want to get at least one of these for my kids to play with. I'll probably end up getting two, because my daughter loves the stupid Lego Friends sets that have like minifigs that aren't normal minifigs. They're all like taller, and they look like Playmobil. If you've ever seen Playmobil figures, it's just like, oh, why'd you ruin minifigs? This was the best part of Lego, but you put lots of pink pieces in, so I guess you had to make pieces that you could put dresses on, because that's what they do. It's just it's so bizarre. But anyway, these sets are going to be in stores soon if they aren't already, and yeah, they allow you to play with your Lego in a virtual world. Kind of a cool little idea.
Cool.
All right, let's jump right into your review, Jared. This one is one that you talked about a while ago, that after you talked about it, I actually went and picked up. So, Jared, why don't you tell us about Angry Birds Epic?
So, well, you stole my thunder. I'm going to talk about Angry Birds Epic today.
All right.
It currently says Stephen Munn.
I know.
Has it said Stephen Munn the entire time?
No, just when I went to wow, I'm not even on the right thing. Never mind. I'm going to go back to I switched cameras thinking that I could have you front and center, but that's obviously not going to happen. So.
All right. So anyway, so Angry Birds Epic. Angry Birds Epic is obviously Angry Birds, and if I need to explain to you what Angry Birds are, you probably shouldn't be listening to this podcast. Angry Birds are birds that are angry at some pigs for stealing their eggs, because that's what pigs do. And this one takes it in a completely different genre. So first they had Angry Birds, then they went into Angry Birds Space and Star Wars and all that, and then they had Angry Birds
Go
Kart Racer.
Yeah,
Go.
Angry Birds Go.
And they may have had some other Angry Birds, but they've also merchandised the crap out of it.
Yep.
And now they've come out with this one, which is essentially, it's a turn-based RPG. And the way that it works is just like every other turn-based RPG is you take 3 people into battle. You're able to then attack with those 3 people. You draw little lines from the bird you want to attack to what pig you want to, or what bird do you want to attack with to whatever pig you want to attack. Then every bird has a couple of different moves. So he has an attack, or she, I don't know. Maybe the birds are girls. I don't really know that.
Well, they do have eggs, so.
What's that?
They do have eggs.
I know.
That were
and
stolen.
The white one is kind of girly, but
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, so birds. Now I feel like I can't use like a feminine or a masculine pronoun. So you draw lines from your birds to the pigs, and they attack. But if you draw from a bird to a bird, it will use their defensive attack. And maybe that would be something like, I think my black pig for a really long time had one that raised your attack power like 15%. And it would do it to the entire team, and it does it for like 3 turns. So as long as you're doing a lot of attacks, it very easily makes up for itself. And you're able to do more damage by using your support ability. Then often your white one will have various ones that will allow you to heal. So maybe in one class she will have the ability to heal someone with a lot of health, and then everyone else gets healed with half of that value. So there's a whole lot of different things, and so you switch classes by finding hats. The hats at first usually you get 2 or 3 for each guy, and the later hats are so expensive, like hundreds of silver, which every battle gives you like 15 unless you go through the tiered battles, and the tiered battles give you way more, but they take a lot longer. And you also have to invite your friends along, which means that in order to invite your friends along, you have to connect into Facebook. And I just generally don't like connecting games to Facebook because then they bug my friends.
Does it cost premium currency to enter those things?
No.
Oh, well, I'm surprised.
They give you premium currency every day. A little golden pig shows up, and you can, fight the golden pig and get a free one. Additionally, after you pass a certain point, you get like a little like pig that you can pull like a lottery to try and get some special item. So it's nice if you have friends that are playing the game, because then you can snag their special items, or you can roll that a little bit more. So it's very much encouraging you to get friends playing it, and also to get friends that are advanced in it. So right now, unfortunately, my highest friend is level 8. So hey friends, go get your level up. Really, seriously. My level 13 team is struggling at pulling, because like when you're going to fight in certain battles, you can only take 2, and then you have to take your friend as the 3rd one, which is just kind of annoying because my friends are weaker than me. But that's generally true. Anyway,
that was funny.
So yeah, they're like level 13, or I'm level 13, so I'm sure that when they go and use me, they're just like, hey, look, and my guy's carrying them. Additionally, when you win battles, the more stars you get, it doesn't really unlock anything. However, the more stars you get, the better rewards you get out of the individual missions. So there'll be like a little spinning Wheel of Fortune type wheel, and if you have 1 star, you only get 1 section from that Wheel of Fortune wheel. Whereas if you have 3 stars, you get 3 selections from it that are all right next to each other. So you get better rewards if you get more stars. The way you get stars is by having people with a lot of life left. And because of that, it makes it almost required to have a healer along in just about every battle.
Right.
Because that way you can heal your guys up late in the battle when they're down to just like one guy, and you can like stall and not kill that last guy while your healer heals people up. Which is kind of an annoying way because it's very easy to game. I originally thought that you also were able to get more stars by completing it quickly. I'm not so certain that's the case. I think it's primarily based on how much life each of your birds has at the end. So there's a whole bunch of different types of battles. There's kind of a little kind of story going along where you're trying to, of course, rescue eggs. You rescue the different eggs in different places. And, you know, occasionally you'll come across like a store that will have some blueprints in it. And the blueprints will allow you to build different weapons or I think they call them offhand items, but basically it's what provides your health level. And whenever you do that, there's this annoying thing where you have to roll a dice, and that dice will come up either 0 stars, 1, 2, or 3. And if it comes up 0 stars, oftentimes if you have a decent one of the level before, it's no better. Like it's pointless, and you just wasted all your materials to build it. You can destroy stuff that you make so that you can recover a small amount of the materials that you use, and you'll have to do that occasionally just to get some of the materials. Either that or you have to go grind for the materials, which I refuse to do.
Right.
They just added in about halfway, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago, they added in this system where if you haven't played for a while, you'll log in and they'll have little swords up by your name or by your level and stuff, and you get double experience while you're fighting those. So it doesn't stop you from playing, but it slows down your progress if you run out of those swords. So I've been playing very much only playing if I have swords, because I figure that way I'm actually leveling up, and I don't want to have to grind more than necessary.
Right.
You do get premium currency from defeating the golden pig each day, and it goes up. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you get a bonus one if you are logged into Facebook. So it goes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then after a week, it starts over. So it doesn't get better or anything. It just, you start back over. You can use the premium currency for all sorts of extra ingredients or basically whatever we want. You can get an improved, if you spend enough, you can get like an improved urn or cauldron. That means that whenever you use that, you will always, to build items, you will always get 1 star or better. So, I mean, that helps reduce the variability a bit. But man, I've had so many times when, I've went and did a little bit of grinding to get the last materials I needed, and then I roll the dice and I end up with 0 stars, and it's like, oh, that sucks.
Yuck.
Because now I just did a bunch of grinding for a weapon that's not actually better than my current weapon. And so when you're playing it and it shows the weapon value like on the blueprint, that's always the top value that you can get.
Oh.
So it'll say like up 54, but if you get 0 stars, it might be up 5, and then if you get 1 star, it's up 20, and then 2 stars, it's up 35, and then 3 stars, it's up 50. So it's okay. It's not. It feels, you definitely feel the freemium a little bit more as you go on in it,
right?
Because it just gets hard if you're not grinding and all that. I'm pretty far in it. I haven't actually. Did I pay? I don't remember. I may have spent $1 or $2 to, say, hey, I was having fun here. You can also go, get legendary equipment and all that other stuff. So, it gets better. Your equipment gets better as you level up and everything else. So, it's okay. I can't give it a ringing endorsement, but I would say that, in my opinion, it's probably something like well, I'm going to give you my opinion because it's me doing the review.
I was going to say, you're kind of always going to give us your opinion. That's what this whole thing's about.
So I'm going to give it a 3 stars as kind of like, it's okay. It's a little abusive on the freemium, but it's still kind of a fun title. It's kind of like an entry point light turn-based RPG type game. Your guys level together, which is kind of nice because, sometimes you'll go long periods of time ignoring one bird because you don't have the latest equipment for him. So if you don't have the latest equipment, then, he's underpowered compared to your other ones, and you'll take the other ones instead.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you'll get new equipment and he'll be right back in the mix. So it's nice that they kind of level together, but leveling's kind of slow. Yeah, I think that's probably all I have. 3 stars out of 5. It's interesting. It's free. It might be worth a check out. Depends on how much you like turn-based RPG games or the Angry Birds franchise. If you like either of those things a lot, then you probably will end up liking this game. Otherwise, this one might be okay to pass on.
Interesting. Yeah, after you talked about it last week, I wanted to give it another chance. So I downloaded it, and I didn't even touch it. So I'm probably going to delete it now after listening to your review. It just, I can't do the grind anymore, man. I can't. Freemium and grinding, I don't have the time for that these days.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the only way that I'm willing to do a grind is if I'm having a lot of fun, like exploring something with it. And, most games just don't give that to you. So therefore, usually I'm against the grinding as well. So
yeah, it's like I'm playing Rogue Legacy, for example, and the whole game is a grind, and I'm okay with that because it's fun the entire time. But yeah, I just don't really want to play that anymore. So,
well, cool.
Yep. Awesome, man. Well, thanks for that review. Angry Birds Epic, 3 out of 5 from my man Jared Schultz.
That's it.
I was waiting for you to jump in there, but didn't happen. All right, well, that's going to about do it for episode 171 of the Touch of Gaming podcast. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for letting us know what you think of the show and for subscribing. Tell some friends about it so they can subscribe too and share in on the fun. Head on over to vgpodcast.com and let us know what you think. You can email us directly at vgpodcast@gmail.com. That's what Felix did when we were talking about Overcast, so encourage you to do that too. Or you can call our voicemail line, which is area code 505-VG-Podcasts. So, Jared, thanks for joining me yet again for the show.
My pleasure.
All right, well, you take it easy. Everybody at home, take it easy as well. And we'll talk to you in about a week's time on the Touch of Gaming podcast. Take it easy, everybody.